Revelation 3139. From the 30th of May 1944. Ceremonies and externals hinder. It is a purely spiritual process when the human being's soul unites with its spirit, and therefore this process need not be marked externally in any way by gestures or ceremonial actions. As soon as the soul seeks unification with the spiritual kingdom, as soon as it unites with God in prayer or seeks to enter into contact with the beings of light through thoughts which it sends into the spiritual kingdom, it detaches itself from the earthly environment. It no longer pays attention to the body and thus frees itself from all earthly things because these hinder an intimate connection. And so every outer action, every ceremony, must also be regarded as an obstacle which impairs the intimate connection with God or the spiritual world. For as soon as it is performed purely mechanically it is worthless and unnecessary, but if the human being's thought is involved then the spiritual connection loses its depth. There will may be good but the human being himself reduces the supply of strength which arises from this connection. Spiritual things do not tolerate earthly inhibitions, that is, the spiritual effects are corresponding. It is never necessary for the human being to outwardly make it known that he establishes the spiritual connection, it is enough that the fellow human being knows about his striving and seeks to follow him again in such a way that he quietly goes within himself and converses with God or the spiritual beings. For he must know that the spiritual world only finds pleasure in spiritual actions, that even the bodily ceremony of kneeling down is meaningless for the spiritual world, because it is not the sign of humility before God but humility itself that finds his favor and also earns the human being his grace. God, however, does not need external proof, but he looks into the heart. And external actions often lack inner life, but people themselves are often satisfied with these ceremonies and have merely performed them for their fellow human beings, which does not bring any spiritual advantage to the soul. And therefore the human being should always endeavor to detach himself completely from earthly customs and forms. He should use every free minute to establish intimate contact with the spiritual world. He should leave the earthly world outside and not take anything from it, but only the soul should wander into the spiritual kingdom, so that through this union divine gifts of grace can flow to it at any time. Amen.